This episode is all about making tough choices and our relationship with the F word. And I'm not talking about the F word that we like to say a lot of times when we're frustrated. We're talking about the F word of failure. If you have a salon, if you're in a position where your job is at stake, where you can't afford to pay your salon rent, where you're not even sure if you should even keep your salon open because of everything that has been happening this year, you got to listen to this episode. My friend Sherri Belanger, owner of one of the top salons in La Jolla, California, is going to drop some knowledge on you today. Oh yeah, and she's also going to tell you exactly how much money she spent opening up her salon. It's one of those things we don't talk about much. Is it 10,000? Is it 20,000? Is it a lot more than that? And you're about to hear all about how she spent her entire savings to open her salon and how she would do anything to keep it open because it's her passion, her purpose. And before I talk about this anymore, let's dive into the episode. Here we go. Roll the intro. Welcome to the Hairpreneur Show, the show that teaches you, the hair pro, how to work smarter so you can make more, work less, and live a purpose-driven life on your schedule, not your clients'. I'm your host, Ryan Whedon, and each week I'll teach you awesome, actionable ways to tap into your personal greatness. Through marketing, mindset, and confidence training, it's time to unlock the next level of you. Let's grow. Hey everybody, Ryan Whedon here with the Hairpreneur Show. Today we have Sherri Belanger, who is a local superstar. She is incredible with what she does. She owns a salon. It's probably the highest rated salon in La Jolla, California. Her salon is absolutely beautiful, and she's just done remarkable things with it. I want to talk to her today about her journey to become a salon owner, what she's learned along the way to become a salon owner, how she's dealt with the pandemic this year, how she pivoted, and how she's moving forward with this, in addition to being a mom, like a mompreneur. Welcome, Sherri. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Mompreneur, I like that.
There's so much that I want to talk to you about, and if we don't have time for it all today, then we can do this again. But I feel like there's so many relatable topics here. You are a salon owner. How long have you wanted to own your own salon?
I think I always knew I wanted to, but I wasn't ready until I would say about 12 years into my hair career. And that was simply because I knew how much work it was going to be and how much sacrifice. So up until that point, I wasn't ready to, kind of live outside of myself and my hair journey. So yeah, at year 12 in my career, it was like game on.
Mm-hmm. So when you got out of hair school, your first job was what?
My first job was assisting a salon owner in La Jolla, where Belanger is. And it was kind of like fast track assistant. It was a great opportunity for me. He really nurtured my education. I became a network educator with Bumble and Bumble, did training in New York a bunch. And yeah, it was amazing. So I was there for 4 years and kind of kept evolving and flowing. And then, went up to LA and did that thing.
You said something that caught my attention, fast-tracked assistant. The two don't normally go together. Normally when somebody hires an assistant, you just hope they're going to be your assistant forever.
Yeah, I know. I think he, saw the potential in me and was like, all right, let's get her behind the chair and like bringing in some dollars.
100%. That's great. So you were a commission stylist then after being an assistant, right? And how long were you a commission stylist for?
I was a commission stylist for 3 years. And then I did take the leap to booth rental, and I left my salon because my owner wouldn't let me rent. And, he did have my best interests. Like I wanted to take 6 weeks off to go travel. I started dating somebody in Los Angeles. I basically went through that season of career that I didn't want to work, really. Like I did want to work. I didn't want to, be held accountable. So my solution was to just go work for myself and figure it out. So I did booth rent after that.
Okay. So about how long after being a commission stylist to booth renting, how long were you a commission stylist for?
So commission stylist, I think 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And then I was a booth renter for a year. And then I ended up moving to Los Angeles and basically starting over. And when I moved to LA, I became a commission stylist again.
Okay.
So I did a yo-yo. I did back and forth. I went from commission to booth rent to commission to booth rent to suite owner to salon owner. So I've kind of worn all the hats.
What's your favorite? I assume salon owner.
Salon owner.
Okay.
Yeah, I love owning a salon.
Before that, what was your favorite? You went back and forth and you've been in a suite, you've been a booth renter, you've been commission, which I feel like it's important to know all of those roles going into owning a salon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Who was it? Someone just said to me, like, you have to know what it's like to wash the dishes before you open a restaurant. And I totally agree with that.
Right. And for most people that don't know our relationship, we first met at Phoenix Salon Suites. You had your suite, I had my suite, and we had this, this almost like this passerby relationship, hey, how you guys doing? Hey, you doing great. We built a friendship starting from there. Yeah. It's like rock and roll at the end of the hallway. Yeah. There we go. So that was cool to watch you. And then decided that you didn't want to do the suite life anymore, and it was time to invest into a salon. Where was your mindset at that point? Where were your financials at that point? I need an exact dollar figure. No, I'm kidding. I'm just curious, like, did you have money saved up for this? Did you take out loans? Mm-hmm. And are you happy with the way that you jumped into being a salon owner?
Yeah, I'll be super transparent there because I think maybe it will be helpful. Now, when I went into a suite, I never intended to stay in a suite. I had been brewing a Belle Seren and a bigger thing with a team of people. But then I had the opportunity to open a suite with a suite mate. And to me, I'm like, this is going to be my last, I'm going to try this before I go all in. Because what if opening a suite actually fulfilled whatever I was craving? But I instantly knew that I wanted something bigger and more. And it started becoming less about me as the star hairdresser and more about wanting to nurture a team of stylists and grow them to, skyrocket above me became the focus. And so while I was in the suite, I just started my vision became clear. I started looking for locations, trying to figure out what city was going to feel best. I looked at salons that were for sale. I looked at blank canvases. I was looking for probably 6 months before I I got a broker. So a broker doesn't cost you anything. It's all they're paid on the back end. So that was really cool. The broker helped me kind of hone in and ultimately found the location of Belle Seren. Financially, knowing that this was something I wanted to do, I was working my ass off and saving every dollar. Up until I had a suite, I was doing very well. I did very well in LA. I wasn't just working in salon. I was doing a lot of freelance work with celebrity. I was doing hair for some actresses and on Glee. So I had additional income aside from what I was doing behind the chair. And I was doing a lot. In LA, I was running, 2 to 3 chairs with an assistant. So I put it in savings. And then when I knew that I was going to open Belle Seren, I quit getting mani-pedis. I quit buying expensive makeup. I didn't buy $12 smoothies in the Village. Like, I bare boned everything. I stopped drinking bottles of wine that cost more than, literally, I think I wouldn't buy a bottle of wine unless it was like $6 or under. Like, I shifted my mentality because I knew that every dollar was going to count. And I didn't want to take out, I looked into the small business loans, and there's all sorts of loans, and they were so overwhelming to me. And so I decided to use my savings. And then I was able to open up a line of credit under my business account, my personal account, all of that combined. And then I went for it. But I should have had a lot more money saved before I did it. I will say that, because everything costs so much more money. And when I was under construction, the cost of my project ended up doubling. And so it became a family affair. My husband, my father-in-law, who's a retired contractor, started helping to figure out how to save. So I should have saved more money than I did, because I legit emptied my entire savings and maxed out the credit cards to build Belle Seren while working 12-hour days to keep money coming in.
Can I ask what that money looks like? Was it how much money did you put forth initially to opening the salon?
I would say, I think Belle Seren cost me to just get open at least $100,000. And maybe...
Where's the tequila?
I know. I know. Yeah. And, I mean, even just my buy-in with the things that you don't think about, like I brought in Oribe, and their buy-in at that time, I think was like $18,000 to just bring in the retail. Now that's money that you're going to get back eventually. But yeah, I think I threw that money in, and then I didn't have a team. I didn't have anything. So there was definitely, I watched my bank account go down to like nothing, basically.
Right.
Every dollar that I was making was being put back into the salon. I had 2 lines of credit. I think each of them were like for $15,000.
Okay.
So I maxed those. Basically, I mean, I don't remember what my bank account got to, but I got real scared. Mm-hmm. And I still have it on our refrigerator. My husband, Scott, wrote me a check from his savings account, I think for like $10,000 in case I needed it. Mm-hmm. But I'm so stubborn and I'm like, no, I don't need your money. I'm doing this by myself. And I never cashed it. I never needed to. So we have it on the fridge just as a sweet thing.
That's amazing. So
it really is that, like, I don't come from money. I don't have, that wasn't the story. So it was just my eye on the prize and having faith in the process. And when I'm like all in or all out. So I was just all in and doing whatever it took.
Let's take a step back, because you were in LA, you're in San Diego. Anybody that's watching the video right now might look at you and be like, total Cali girl, right? But you're not a Cali girl. You used to have a thicker accent, right? You're actually from the Northeast, from Boston. Yeah. Is that right?
I popped the cow over there. Yeah. I'm a New England girl. I grew up outside of Boston. And when I was 12, my parents moved us to San Diego, but my roots are East Coast.
And then once you moved out here, you probably realized that people didn't understand half the things you said.
No. And now it's funny because I've recognized I overpronounce my R's. Uh-huh. And I know it's because I worked so hard to like pronounce my R's after, neglecting it for the first 12 years of my life. So yeah, I overpronounce my R's to make up for my East Coast accent.
Okay. So now you're a salon owner, and just like people talk about with contractors and with any type of construction, establishing a new business or home remodeling, it usually takes, you learn this firsthand. I have myself too. It usually costs twice as much as the initial estimate and usually takes about 3 times as long to get done, right? It's something crazy, right? But it seems to always fit that type of model.
Yeah. Contractors aren't my number one favorite people.
Right. Right.
Experiences either.
And I know they might have best intentions, but permits take longer. There's a lot of uncertainties.
And they're running a business too, right? So,
Okay. So you have this salon now, and this is pre-COVID, when everything was growing great. People are coming in regularly. You were filled, clients happy, coming, going. You probably have a full salon at that point with stylists. How was your life feeling at that point? Were you feeling really accomplished? Were you just excited for the future? What was going on in your head?
Yeah, all that. I mean, my team beginning of this year was magic. We were a packed house. I was interviewing more assistants to come work for us, to have salon assistants, because we were so busy. Stylists were double booking. We were crushing it. It was just like this big family. Like we just maxed out the space that we had, but we all loved it because the energy was it was magic. And we'd cram in my tiny break room, and it was really great. And yeah, I mean, Belle Seren was set to hit we did amazing last year, and the numbers, it was going to be like the best year, as we all thought. Right. And,
right.
I'm sure the lessons learned, there's a lot of reflection and everything, but yeah, it was really great.
So you had all this stuff going on. Your best year was in the making, and then you had to close your salon. You're in California. We had to close twice in California. How did that make you feel? And how did it make all your stylists feel?
I feel like I blacked it out. I think we flash back to that in March, April. We were all very scared. We didn't know what was going on. That's when we were like bleaching our groceries and, so I think for me, what was tough was figuring out how to show up as a leader. You tell your team to go file unemployment, and yet you still have to be a leader, but honoring everybody's individual feels about what's happening. I definitely, while figuring out how I feel about it. So that was a challenge for sure. And then I think, once we got back, we kind of found our groove a little bit. And then the rug was swept out from beneath us because we were doing everything right. And then we still got shut down. But I would say, I don't know. I think everyone handled it differently. And, I lost a bunch of stylists kind of trickled throughout those, 6-7 month period, because we had a lot of time to sit and reflect on our lives. And either, we felt content and sure, and we were able to maybe just kind of like work on ourselves. Or I think some people were scared and grasping for control and figuring out what that looks like for them. So I think everybody had a different revelation during these closures. And I know for me as a business owner, there's only so much I can do depending on where somebody's journey is. So it was tough. I did the best I could. We did one-on-ones, we did the Zooms, but it was tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now you have less staff now, right? Because of the people that left. You're getting back on your feet just like everybody else is. How are you staying optimistic? How have you changed the way your business runs?
I would say staying optimistic because I've done it before, a different scenario, but I've started from nothing a few times. And at least at this point, and like when I opened Belle Seren, I didn't have a team at first. I started from, zero and made it what it was. So at this season of toughness, I don't know, I guess I know that we're going to overcome, and that I have faith in the process of it. And I'm not starting from nothing. I still have an incredible team. And if anything, it's really amazing. Like my heart feels for the people who still believed in the vision and didn't look elsewhere when times got tough, if that makes sense. So the foundation is good. And now I think the biggest challenge is I'm taking my time interviewing and keeping my focus on, my values, who I want on my team, who is going to be the right fit, and not buckling and just hiring anybody because I want to fill chairs, so
Right.
That's kind of where we're at right now. But I've already brought on some great people. I'm still interviewing, and it's really exciting, actually.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And you've shifted your model a little bit, right? To work with some people that were having some challenging decisions to make.
Yeah, well, I think especially here in California, this is an independent hairdresser state. There's salon suites popping up on every exit off the freeway. And, it is really hard. I think a lot of people don't have employee-based salons because it's really hard in California. It's really expensive to manage an employee-based salon with the employer taxes. And so I still believe in a commission model and nurturing assistants and helping stylists grow and kind of nurturing that journey. But I wasn't necessarily welcoming the booth rental side, because as a renter, you are an independent business owner. So how does an independent business owner fit within a team? But I shifted my model. I have some salon owner friends here in San Diego. We had a lot of chats, and it's like, you can go hybrid and still make it your own and still have standards and still be selective with who is part of that family dynamic, whether you're independent or an employee. So that is something now that I'm offering that I was kind of against for a minute, is a career path that if a stylist gets to a certain place and they're yearning to be a business owner, which is what being a booth renter is, I can help coach them and have them really truly understand the numbers before they just jump and do whatever, and make sure it's right for them and offer them that opportunity within Belle Seren. It's a big deal because it really wasn't on my mind before, but it's like, right. I switched gears and I'm really excited about it.
Well, I've seen you shift too, and I've seen you pivot even personally as well, where you are being more outspoken. You're being more of an inspiring leader and helping with more focus on Instagram, on trying to help other stylists make the right choices when it comes to how to run their business, how to overcome these different unseen challenges that are happening now. So I love watching you and hearing everything you have to say. And that's why you're here today. And you mentioned that you have this salon owners group that you get together with and you guys chat about things. How long have you been doing that?
So that's like from the closures. And that's something that's really cool. There's like a handful of us that have very kind of similar but different business models. But I would say it's like the top salons in San Diego for sure. There's like a handful of us that came together during the closures, and we would Zoom, and we're on a text chain, and we were just all so open and transparent and raw and supportive. There was no competition. Like, these leaders really truly believe there's enough clients for all of us and enough stylists for all of us. And we have each other's back. And it's a really cool dynamic to be part of and just recognize like, hey, we can do similar things, but it doesn't have to be competition. So that started with the closures and it's really special. I would encourage anybody to kind of try to find their like-minded other salon owners and just go grab a drink.
It's good that you have that too. And I think that's important. It's almost like your own mastermind group where you get together and you're just like, okay, I'm having these challenges. How would you face this? And everybody is on the let's help each other win side. It's really important because especially once you're a leader, a salon owner, company owner, it can be very lonely because you have these people that work for you. And although you might want to be buddy with them, you still are their boss. You still have to be able to tell them what to do and have them listen because it's your business that they're working for. And I ran into those challenges as well. And it can be very lonely, as they say at the top, unless you find your own core group of people to have these, if you need to rant, then rant to them because you don't want to do it to your employees. That's a terrible thing to do. And I've seen salon owners do that.
No. And it is so cool to be able to have conversations and have others maybe that have been through it, like having a mentor too, that can kind of speak their truth. And it is really important. And I'm very lucky that I have that. It's been very helpful, I think, for all of us. There's been moments where a few of us have called each other like ready to throw in the towel or in tears. And we were like, you cannot give up. Like, you're too great. Your salon is too great. So that it is awesome.
Did you ever think you were going to close?
No. I knew I wasn't. I mean, it was funny timing. So my lease was up for renewal November 1st. So I'm like, is the universe just giving me a hall pass to just walk away and not have to, just okay. But no, I mean, my vision is still forward. I still have a lot of fight in me. And I'm really excited about the evolution now with our hybrid model and creating a new career path. And I feel super invigorated and excited about the future. And I know things are going to come back and be better and better. It's just kind of like riding out the storm.
Mm-hmm. What does the future look like for Belanger and for you?
I don't know. I mean, I don't look too far ahead. I think it looks bright and awesome. I recently hired a manager who's really helping me. And I mean, if as an owner too, you wear so many hats and you can only be in so many places at once. So being able to delegate a little bit and have that support does free me up to start dreaming a little bit bigger. What that looks like, I don't know. I mean, I've always dreamt of another location in North County, but then I have conflicting feels there because I know sometimes a second business isn't going to be the solution anyway. So I don't know. I think I'm enjoying the ride and just seeing what happens. And I'm doing some mentoring on the side and I'm really fulfilled just with that.
That's amazing. Right now, is your salon, do you feel, is it profitable? Are you finally starting to make money again? Are you finding ways to do that? Or are you just riding out the storm until things get better? How are you focused right now on, like you had mentioned, surviving the storm?
I think if we're profitable, it's not by much. I think, with the business expenses, because I have a lot of employees too, like non-income producing employees, like assistants, management, front desk crew, and all that, in addition to the overhead. So I think until we rebuild more stylists behind the chairs, it's probably like at a break even, maybe a little bit profitable. Luckily, I do hair, so we're good. So I would say it's riding the storm and keeping an eye on the future.
And you are a mom of a toddler, a 2-year-old. I know this because our kids play together sometimes. That has had to have presented its own challenges too, because 2 years ago, even before that, when you became pregnant, you were in the midst of probably your 5-year, you had a 5-year lease, right? Initially with your salon.
Yeah.
Is that right? And so halfway through you got pregnant, if I'm doing the math correctly, right? You took some time off, I think, but your husband works full time.
Yeah.
How challenging was that, having a newborn and running a salon?
It's definitely challenging, but it's super rewarding, of course. I think I care so much about my business and I understand that I need to be involved and present to make it its greatest version. And obviously becoming a new mom and having a baby at home, I got to show up for her too. She's number one. So how do you suddenly find the balance between the worlds? Luckily for me, my team was solid. Once Rhea was born, I took 5 months maternity leave. So I didn't do hair for 5 months and I was able to still show up how I needed to a degree for my team. I'm sure it could have been more or better. And then, yeah, I mean, it's the thing too, as a salon owner, you're really not supposed to be working full time anyway, if you want to be working on your business and taking care of your team. So it was kind of good in that sense that I went back to work after the 5 months, but like super limited hours. So I was able to create the balance being home with Rhea, make time for my meetings. I've got my OG loyal clients. They book out way far in advance and they're willing to pay my rates. And so it's worked itself out. And I'm fortunate because I have childcare with my family. So it's just making it happen. But we just have one. I don't know if we had two. Yeah.
You do have 2 babies. You've got your salon and you've got your toddler.
Yeah. All the children in the salon, right?
Right. And all the children in the salon. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It was tough, but it's great. But I definitely struggled between both hats. I don't feel it as much anymore now that she's a little bit older.
Now, people that are going to be listening to this, some of them are going to be salon owners, of course, that might be facing that question. Should I stay open? Should I close? How am I going to survive this? Is there any advice that you can give to those people that are thinking about throwing in the towel?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the deeper questions. And, you have to remember why you started. And if that is still important to you, then I would do everything you can to not close your doors. Everyone's financial situation is different though, too. Everyone's overhead expense is different. So I think it's such a personal decision. But I would say if somebody does have to close their salon and it just is what it is, I don't think that has to be a closed door forever. I have no doubt that so many people that close their business, like you don't just like turn that switch off. Like there's going to be something created, when life kind of calms down a bit. You got to remember why you started, go back to the basics. For me, during these challenging times and the questioning times and almost questioning myself as a leader, experiencing loss in my business, it turned me into doing a lot of self-work and self-reflection. And, I think I said it to you, like drinking the Kool-Aid and finding the mentors, the podcasts, the things to keep me inspired and also reflect on me as a person, maybe the feelings that are coming up during all this junk. And so that's been really helpful for me to make sure that my mind is in a good space and that I'm clear just about everything that I'm thinking.
Right. I think it's also our individual relationships to the F word, the word failure. I think some of us might think that if we close our salon, we failed. Or we close our business, we failed. And I think it's not a failure. It's a learning experience. You're making the best choice you can given certain circumstances. Doesn't mean it's the end of something. It could be like the end of a chapter.
Totally.
But you have your entire story, your life ahead to continue your journey and to continue writing chapter after chapter. One door closes, another one opens. And it's probably about pivoting your mind as well. Not just your business, but your mind.
Well, and you said something there too, like it's a choice. Like I think ultimately most of us have the choice if we want to close or not, if we want to take on more debt, if we want to fight harder, if we want to rebuild. And it's okay to choose not because it doesn't serve you in this season. So I think, and that isn't failure. Maybe that's growth.
Did this group of owners that you get together with and chat with, it sounds like it's super helpful. Would you recommend that to other people, to reach out to other people that are in their community that are supportive minds that they can talk to, be like, should I close? Like, am I making the right decision? As opposed to maybe asking their employees or their spouse or their animals.
Totally. And I think, what would be a good place to find recommendations for people is maybe through your product reps, say whatever retail lines or color lines, those reps that they're in a lot of different places and they know different leadership styles and salon styles. I think they could be a really good source of connection because obviously not every salon owner is going to be like-minded. And just in life, we don't want to take advice from somebody that we don't look up to or that doesn't actually have our best interest. You have to be good with your ego and you have to not feel competitive and not be hurt if, your stylists try to interview at, that person's salon or whatever. And so you got to also be kind of ready for that too and okay with it.
And a lot of times we end up training our competition.
Yeah.
So we have to be okay with that too, that we're going to teach somebody everything that we know so they can be successful in our salon. But one day they might decide to take everything that we've taught them even with their own clients, because we can't really keep our clients anymore in our salons because of Instagram. If we leave, they'll find us. Yeah. Right. So we have to be okay with that. It's like you have to just leave your ego at the door and just continue focusing on moving ahead on what you do have, not what you don't.
Well, and it's part of our role, right? Like, I think in a perfect world, we keep our people forever. But if we're doing our job right, maybe that means we don't, because we've built them to believe that anything is possible. And, you know, the positive spin on it is if you lose somebody to another salon that you've trained and brought up, well, they trained and brought somebody up too. And maybe that stylist is going to find you, you know? So I think it can all come full circle too, if we just kind of let it happen and not take ownership over people and just think about like what's best for you and kind of be grateful for the time that you have with people.
So maybe we should just like beat them down a little bit so they don't want to leave, so they don't feel confident.
Verbally abuse, just
just teach them a lot, make them super incredible what they do, but you're not ready to own a salon. You just don't have what it takes. It's
funny with my stylist that left during the closure. Uh-huh. Everyone left very kindly. We had conversations, you know, like it was a very positive closure. Mm-hmm. But I found myself after, I'm like, was I too supportive? Like I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, I understand your need to do this. And if that's what's on your heart, I support you. And like, am I too nice? Am I like, okay, yeah, go ahead and go. But
there's no other way to be, really. Even if you are kind of hurt inside, people will do what's in their own best interest. And you just have to support that. You can't hold grudges. It's not going to hurt them. It's going to hurt you.
It's not my path. It's theirs. Yeah. I don't want to hold anybody back.
Right. Well, incredible. Well, Sherri, always such a pleasure. I think we're going to start getting our kids together for play dates. So that's exciting.
Girls together.
Now, people that are listening to this, where can they find you if they have a question, they want to reach out and say hi?
On Instagram is great. I have a easier Instagram handle than I did last time we chatted.
That's awesome. What is it?
It's hair.love.sherri. Sherri. A
lot easier. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Sherri, for being here today. I'm so excited to get this episode up and running. I think a lot of people need to hear what you have to say, and you will be back for more 100%.
Well, thanks.
Do you have any parting words of wisdom? And if you don't, I'll just edit this part out. Putting you on the spot.
Nothing that's going to not sound... I'm like, lead with love. Thanks for listening till this point.
Thanks for listening till this point.
And I'd love to connect on Instagram. Reach out anytime with anything that I can support you with.
100%. Well, I love watching you grow in your journey, and I wish you nothing but success in the months, the days, the years ahead. You're awesome.
Thanks. Back at you, Ryan.
My friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I want to hear from you. Send me an Instagram DM at ryan.weeden and take a screenshot of this episode and tag me so I can repost it. I love hearing from you. And by the way, have you subscribed to the podcast yet? Oh my gosh, if you haven't, please do so right now because there's so much cool stuff ahead. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because it would be much cooler if you did. Plus, I don't want you to miss any of the new episodes I'm dropping weekly. Last thing, if you haven't checked out ryanweeden.com yet, there are some great freebies on there that I want to give you. So go ahead and check it out, ryanweeden.com. Thank you so much for listening. You are awesome.